Good morning, students. So, yet another video on goodwill treatment now. Retirement of a partner, goodwill treatment. First of all, goodwill treatment. We know that AS26 has told that we cannot record self-generated goodwill in the books. Only the goodwill which we purchase somebody's business, and that intangible asset, that is goodwill, for which we pay, that amount of goodwill is only recorded in the books, and that will be recorded in the balance sheet. Whenever any adjustment takes place, that means whenever any reconstitution of partnership takes place, that is retirement, admission, or whatever, first and foremost is that we have to distribute that accumulated, that shown goodwill which is given in the balance sheet asset side. For that, we have a journal entry which we have done in the at the time of admission event. That is partners capital account debit, all the existing partners capital account debit to goodwill in their old ratio. But when a existing partner leaves, he is not only entitled to get the capital, but he is also entitled to get a part of his hard work, that is goodwill. So outgoing partner's share of goodwill is credited to him and debited to the continuing partner's capital account in the gaining ratio. Let's understand the journal entry. Gaining or existing partners capital account debit to sacrificing or retiring partners capital account. Now let me tell you why existing partners are gaining. Existing partners are gaining because existing partners, they will remain in the business and they will reap the profit, whereas the partner who is sacrificing or who is going away, who is retiring, he is leaving the business, so his share of profit is to be taken by the existing partner. And as in the future the existing partners are going to gain, so they have to give something to the retiring partner. And when they give, the journal entry is partners capital account debit. We know capital account has a credit balance. To reduce their capital, capital is debited, and the existing and the retiring partners capital is credited for the goodwill amount, because we cannot show the goodwill in the books. That's why we have to do through capital adjustment entry, and that is existing partners capital account debit to sacrificing partner or retiring partners capital account in the gaining ratio, the persons who are gaining. And the gaining ratio formula is new ratio minus old ratio. Again, the gaining ratio formula is new ratio minus minus old ratio. To make this matters understand easily, we have sum. This sum will clear all the doubts regarding goodwill. All five varieties, all five cases we have taken. Now this is the sum. X, Y, and Z sharing profits in the ratio 1/2, 1/3, and 1/6. On retirement, goodwill of the firm is valued at rupees 30,000. Goodwill already existing in the balance sheet as 12,000. This 12,000 is the purchase goodwill. This has to be first given away. This has nothing to do with the goodwill calculation. Past journal entries. If X retires, and new ratio becomes 3:2. X retires and his ratio is taken by the existing partners in the ratio 3:2. X retires and his share is taken by Z, and simply X retires and the new ratio between X and Z, between Y and Z, between Y and Z, between Y and Z becomes, between Y and Z is 1:4. Now let's do the sums. First case first. But before the first case, that 12,000 which we have to distribute among the existing partners in case of retirement, which the same entry for all the five cases, that is shown first. Before that, we will be first finding out their old ratio. The fraction is given. We will calculate the old ratio as shown over here. So see, this fraction is given. We have taken 6 as LCM, and then 3/6, 2/6, 1/6. So old ratio becomes 3:2:1. That is done first. Then we have the goodwill which is appearing in the balance sheet, that has to be taken away by the existing partners. X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, it will be there. X, Y, Z, X capital debit 6,000, Y capital debit 4,000 and Z capital debit 2,000. That means in the ratio 3:2:1, this goodwill which was appearing in the balance sheet is distributed among the partners. Now, the case 1, this is case 1. X retires. So gaining ratio is 2:1 and new ratio is 2:1. Because when nothing is mentioned, we remember that the old ratio 3:2:1 and the leftover ratio, that means if the partner X has retired, so the old ratio was 3:2:1. That when X is retired, then the existing ratio become this one 2:1. This 2:1 becomes this ratio, and this is what the gaining ratio as well as the sacrificing ratio. This becomes the gaining ratio as well as the sacrificing ratio. So this GR and SR, this becomes the GR and SR. So that is only done. So GR and SR is 2:1 only. So we have to first find out the share of goodwill of X. X was having 3/6 of the profit. Total goodwill of the firm is given 30,000. So his share is only 15,000. He will be getting 15,000. His effort. So he will be credited with 15,000. So 2X, the retiring partner, he has been credited with 15,000, which is shared among the existing partner in their gaining ratio, which is 2:1. So Y's capital account debit 10,000 and Z capital account 5,000. So this was the first case in which no other information except that old ratios are given and one of the partner is living. Now let's understand the second case. Second case, X retires and new ratio between them is 3:2. In this case, new ratio is given. That means old ratio and new ratio, both the things are known to the students by doing this sum. Both the things are given. So it becomes new ratio minus old ratio is gaining ratio. So Y's gaining ratio is, his new ratio, see, 3/5. 3:2 means 3/5. And Z's gaining ratio is 2/5. Over here, 2/5. The old ratio of Y was 2/6. 3:2:1. So it becomes 2/6. 3 plus 2, 5 plus 1, 6. So 2/6. Similarly, Z's 1/6. The leftover 1/6. And where we have calculated, it came 8/30 and 7/30. This is the gaining ratio. 8/30 and 8/30 and 7/30. And the sacrificing ratio is also 3/6 or 15/30. So you see that the gaining is equal to sacrificing in this sum also. So it is gaining is equal to sacrificing 15/30, 15/30, and the gaining ratio is 8:7. His share 15,000 will be taken away by Y and Z, will be given by Y and Z to X in the ratio 8:7. So it is coming 8,000, 7,000, 2X, 15,000. Then comes the third type of sum. X retires and his share is taken by Y and Z in the ratio 3:2. Now in the ratio 3:2. So in this sum, new ratio is not given. We don't need to calculate the new ratio, though I have shown you how to calculate the new ratio, students, but there is no need to calculate the new ratio. In this sum, gaining ratio is already given 3:2. His share 30,000. His share 30,000 into 3/6, 15,000 will be shared among Y and Z in the ratio 3:2 is given in the sum. So 9,000, 6,000, 2X capital, which is 15,000. It's given. But I have shown you over here how to calculate the new ratio. New ratio means the existing ratio plus whatever they are gaining. The existing ratio was Y was 2/6 and 1/6 for Z. He is gaining 9/30. How 9/30 came? See, 3/6 was the ratio of Z of X, which was taken in the ratio 3:2. So 3/5. Z is taking in the ratio 2. 3:2 means 2/5. 3/6 into 2/5. When we calculated this, you will see the working. It becomes 19/30 and 11/30. This is the new ratio, 19:11. And the gaining and sacrificing ratio remains same, 15/30, because 3:2 means 15/30 only it will come. So gaining is equal to sacrificing, and this is the journal entry. Now we will be doing case 4, when X retires and his entire share is taken by Z only. Y has nothing to do. So see, Y's ratio remains 2/6. Z, who was getting 1/6 previously, now he is added with 3/6, so 4/6. That means 2:4, or new ratio is 1:2. In this, gaining ratio is also 3 by 6 and sacrificing also 3 by 6. Who is gaining? Z is gaining 3 by 6 part. And who is sacrificing? The retiring partner, that is X, 3 by 6. His goodwill, 3 by 6 of 30,000 is 15,000, is taken by the partner Z only. Z needs to only needs to give X. So Z capital to X capital 15,000. Being Z compensates X for his goodwill. This will be the narration. Being Z compensates X for his goodwill. Next, the last part. X retires and new ratio between them is 1:4. Now, this is more or less similar to sum number 2. But over here, when you will calculate, you will be getting Y also getting minus 4 by 30. That means gaining ratio of Y is minus. That means it is a sacrificing. And whoever is sacrificing, they will be credited. Only gaining partners are debited. So in this case, Z is debited by 19 by 30. 19 by 30 of 30,000 is 19,000. Y's capital 4 by 30 of 30,000. This way also you can do. You don't have to find out this 15,000 like this. You can just simply multiply over here with 30,000. Then also you will be getting their values. So it is 4,000. Then this one if you multiply over here. Over here if you will multiply with 30,000, you will be getting 19,000. So 19,000 is only debited. 19,000 Z's capital. To Y's capital, to X capital. To Y's capital 4,000 because he is gaining only 4,000 and X is sacrificing 15,000. Y is sacrificing as per the present profit sharing ratio as 4,000. So the new ratio, because the new ratio has come into 1:4, this is happening. Now let's see the homework. This is the homework, students. So you need to do this homework and please send it to me. Thank you, students.